so sorry.
No,
I'm not.
I'm into it. I've never done a YouTube live. I've only done like a Twitch thing once, and it went really poorly. So,
How really poorly?
like it just I was lagging a lot just because I was basically going live to test if I had the internet speed to even maintain Twitch, only to find out that I didn't. So and then no one got in, and it was on our label's Twitch stream. But now in California, there like I have like really baller, like insanely fast internet, and we're doing another thing for like some Call of Duty thing is like a tournament that I'm in for the label in a few weeks, and that I think will go well, but I have to figure that out before then. Oh, nice.
That's
Look at
awesome. Okay, you did get that link.
Yes, yeah. Here, let's...
Okay, cool. What was I gonna say to you? So you are. How long have you been out in California?
Since September. We've been trying to move since like June, though. It took us till September to find a place and get out here. But yeah, since like 2 weeks into September, we've been here.
Good Lord, September of this year?
Yeah. That's everyone says it like that.
Listen, I know a handful of people that moved this year, but it was in city. You know what I mean?
Oh wait,
like
September of last year. Happy New Year.
Yes. I was like, wait, what? And when you said September for a minute, I was like, wait, did I miss a September 11th reference? Oh no.
No. Just like that was when it happened.
Did you happen to move on September 11th?
No, I think. Oh, I don't know.
I'm just kidding.
Who knows? I really can't remember. It could have been the end of August, but
listen,
yeah.
If it's not the 11th, you can't remember. It's impossible.
Oh, that's so funny.
I gotta know, how old are you, Patrick?
I'm 25. I'm 25, and I turned 26 in June.
I asked that because I was listening to Yellow, the album, and you made, I want to say, at least one reference to your Facebook top 5 or whatever. And I was like, or not Facebook, the MySpace top 8.
Oh yeah. No, this is hilarious. My friends and I have become like obsessed with this since we've moved here. So we've made lots of new friends recently because like I don't know about the rest of my roommates, but I'm actively like trying to establish new friend groups in California because I don't do well without a big group of friends. So like I'm like trying to meet as many people and hang out as often as possible, safely and in small groups at a time, obviously.
Yes, obviously.
But and that's been successful. But for some reason, me and my roommate Sam specifically are becoming really obsessed with who had a MySpace and who didn't. And I think my grade, like the 2014 graduating class, is literally the cutoff. Like we were the last ones to like naturally create a MySpace profile. And I'm seriously like basically every 23-year-old we've asked like didn't make one. And every 24 and 25-year-old, like all my roommates and I, just had one barely. My girlfriend just turned 24 and she never had one. So I was 12 and 13. Like we were still like too young to be on MySpace for sure. But we had one and we're using it every day. And I think we are literally like the cutoff for when it was still like a true social media.
It must have been because I'm 37 and I had a MySpace. It seems like I had one possibly in high school, which seems impossible. That can't be because our disparity is like 12, 13 years of that. I'm
sure that's right.
Yeah, it's just so wild to know that. Like, because how long has Facebook been a thing? I feel like that came out when Facebook started to be a college thing when I was, I want to say 19 or 20. And that was like 2002, 2003, somewhere around there.
I would have, this is a weird thing. You've seen The Social Network, the movie?
I actually have not seen it.
One of my favorite movies of all time. I can't recommend it enough. But that movie made me really wish that I was around for Facebook when it was truly like a college unique experience. Like when it was just you had to have a .edu to get on. I feel like it must have been awesome, like to only be around a circle of your peers on Facebook.
Have you seen what Twitter was when it first became a thing? Like where you were just there were no at replies, there were no nothing. Like it was just, hey, I'm just in my garage talking to the internet. How's it going?
Yes, yeah. I I mean, I was pretty young, but I think my mom and I both made our Twitters like the first week it went up because my mom was like obsessed with Facebook at the time and she thought Twitter was going to be dope. So I remember she like woke me up one morning when I was like 13 or 14 or whatever. She's like, we're both making Twitter. So I'm like, okay.
Sounds cool. Were you did you immediately just take to social media right away? Guys, like I've been led to believe that you're TikTok famous, at least a little bit.
That's sweet of you to say thank you.
uh,
I thought I was all TikTok famous and cool, and then I moved here and met like the first 5 people I met were like really TikTok famous. I was like, oh, I got a lot of work to do.
you have a brain for it, I feel like, because I was listening. So to be full disclosure, like I probably listened to Yellow, like that album, probably 5 times yesterday just to get ready for today.
Nice.
And the song that okay, before I say this, did you do any kind of marketing or anything like that? Like take any kind of marketing in school or anything like that?
No, never.
It just comes natural to you because the song that like one of the songs that immediately stuck out to me was Crawl. And I was like, oh, I like how there is a unironic ukulele in this song. Like it's a great song. And when I was just looking through YouTube, I saw you doing the tutorial for that song on ukulele. And I was like, that is brilliant because that's exactly what, like, that is a perfect coverable song. And you're like, well, I'll just give you the tutorial. Like,
it's that song's so easy to play. And I love hearing people play it. And I think my guitar player, Nick Hudson, who's upstairs in our living room right now, I'm pretty sure he has tabs for that entire EP on Ultimate Guitar. So I really, really love, like giving people all the necessary tools to cover our songs because, and this kind of circles back around to what you asked originally. When I was younger, I was doing like YouTube covers like every week for a little bit, and I was always trying to cover bands that like quote unquote no one knew about because I was like too cool. Like I found all the underground pop punk or whatever, and like I was just playing the wrong chords in the wrong key, like to cover these songs because these bands like didn't post tabs and I couldn't play songs by ear yet or whatever. So I really like giving all the necessary tools for all those 14-year-olds that like love my band and want to sing it on YouTube or whatever, but don't can't play songs by ear because I totally couldn't. Specifically, I was trying to sing like every Set It Off song from like their first 2 EPs, and just no one knew about them enough to tell me the tabs. So
hilarious. So was that your jam? Just like you were only underground bands? Like, did you have any like mainstream influences when you were a kid?
Yeah, well, I mean, I've always my biggest 3 influences in music and in life probably is the Jonas Brothers, All Time Low, and Bowling for Soup. So, and I would consider all of those to be pretty 3 major acts. But I had in junior high, I had a crazy Green Day phase. And I mean, I still love Green Day, but like there were 2 years where it was all I listened to. And I think it was like freshman and sophomore year of high school, where I started getting that whole like I only listen to bands no one knows type thing. and I think, and even then they were super successful in their own right. I just got really into like Set It Off, and I remember We Are the In Crowd was a big one. And I just got really obsessed with like Hopeless Records, and then towards the end of high school, I got really into Pure Noise Records and Real Friends and State Champs and The Story So Far, and that whole movement of like really like angry pop punk stuff. And then college is when I mean, Not My Weekend has been a thing since my sophomore year of high school, but college is when we really like got our stuff together, so to speak. And then I kind of like just realized how important like that super poppy sugar coated thing is to me, like the Jonas Brothers thing, basically. and that was all throughout the writing process of Yellow. And I think my musical identity has been mostly not cemented because I do something different every day, but like there were years where I was like, I'll write a modern baseball song and be really sad, even though I'm not sad and not good at writing modern baseball songs. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So yeah. I don't know. I've got crazy ADHD. I don't even remember what you asked me. I'm so sorry.
Okay, I'm like trying to follow along. Like because here's the thing. Like I think one of our common connections is through the now defunct podcast Alternate Sides.
Yes.
And we like that. I like that podcast because that exposed me to music that I would never, ever, ever, ever know about. And like I felt those vibes come back again because, like you said, a bunch of bands that I'm like, I haven't heard of not one of those. Bowling for Soup is where I tapped out.
Oh yeah, absolutely. That's funny.
But what I was trying to think of, like, do you write all of the songs? Like, were you the main writer on all the songs, I guess?
Yeah, for the most part. On Yellow for sure. My bandmates have been co-writing a lot more recently. My drummer Noah Hammontree has been sending me like fully done instrumentals, and I just asked him to do the stems, and we did like a proper co-write the other day. But yeah, for the most part, on every song on Yellow and on the entirety of the new LP, which comes out in a few days here. Yeah, I think I'm the main writer on most of them, and normally like I'll have like a whole structure and instrumental all done in my computer. And then me and my band will kind of like decide just which ones we like the best. And then normally my best friend and guitar player, Nick Hudson, upstairs, I'll need him for a lead or something because I don't have a good ear for guitar leads always, but I know I need one. And then Noah always changes the drums a little bit because I'm just doing like 4 on the floor and he needs fills and it always sounds better. And then our producer Neil Angle, who did the entirety of the Yellow EP with us and this newest record, he helped a lot and did a lot of restructuring on the first EP and just taught me a lot about songwriting. And I'm happy to say less so on this newest one, just because like I retained all the lessons he taught me. So most of the stuff I brought him was about there, So he had done a lot of writing too, but like as far as like all the choruses and melody ideas and all the lyrics, that's all me.
So I gotta know, like, when do you figure out, like, how did you figure out that you were actually good at it and not just some like angsty kid that's like, my heart is like a flower and you are like the sun. I only can blossom when you are around. Like there is a huge disconnect from the garbage that I wrote and probably wrote, embarrassingly into my 20s that would never be a song.
No. It's quite the opposite experience. I had to figure out how bad I was to get good. like you're saying, what happened was I started playing guitar and started singing, and I was like, I'm great at this. Everyone should listen. And then like a couple years go by, and you listen back, and you're like, oh my god, you weren't in key. Like you weren't even close. Like I like had to realize how much I absolutely sucked. To like, okay, let's learn how to do this. Like none of this, there's like a difference between like earned skill and talent, right? And I don't have a lick of talent. Like, like it's all just like perseverance and it's choir. It's lots of choir. It's 2 years of a vocal coach, Dr. LaMartine at the University of Wyoming. She is an absolute godsend and literally showed me how my voice works. It is a guy by the name of John Williams in Laramie, Wyoming, who is just killer at guitar, and he's really good at teaching you how to play the kind of guitar that you want to play. It's a lot of our producer Neil Angle, and a lot of just like years of being so bad at it. I mean, there are hundreds and hundreds of songs that are like fully written, fully recorded, fully produced that I know are no good now. You know what I mean? So it's like it's all that. It's just a ton of practice. I can't stress the vocal coach thing enough. Like a personal vocal coach is next level. Like choir was fine because in choir, I started singing on key. Like that's a big unlock because I really was singing like really loud without hitting notes. And choir taught me just like how to hit the notes that I want in the song, and that was okay. But there was like no expression. There was nothing about it that was interesting, and it would and I'd still like be a little shaky and fall flat. And like a personalized vocal coach, if you're a singer or working on it, is crazy because everyone's voice is different. And someone who really knows what they're doing. I mean, this woman I went to has a doctorate in vocals. Like someone who really knows what they're doing can hear and find everything that's in your throat and your voice and your diaphragm and like bring it out of you. I remember like a huge part of the EP, like a gigantic part, was Dr. Lamartine and I figured out that just so much of my voice happens well when I imagine I'm singing it in my hands. Like I literally imagine that my vocal is coming out of my right hand when I sing. And
do you ever do puppeteering while you're singing?
Dude, yes. It's not like a puppeteering thing, but I'll do this thing where I'll like throw out each word with my fingers.
You get very Italian with it.
Yeah, and I did it. I did it on the entire EP, and then like I've done it enough now where it's muscle memory, and I don't need to do that anymore, especially because I sing and play guitar at the same time. But yes, yeah, I'm like it's all in my right hand.
Was there like what was the, if you even remember, what was like the thing that you went back to and you were like, man, I can't wait to hear myself and how great I am, and you played it and were like, oh no.
Well, I mean, it's not like that. I'm sure I knew that I'm sure I knew that like, oh, this probably isn't going to sound as good. It was just a matter of like
I think what I'm trying to ask is like what in that moment when you were hearing that was like, because that is usually a big tipping point for a lot of people where they hear it and they go, oh, I was as trash as I thought I was and I'm going to quit now. Like, what was it in that moment that made you go like, okay, it is time to like really dig in and go hard?
Well, you know what it is, and I only just realized it as you asked, but it's like a junior high and high school thing where like people were being like mean to me and telling me I was no good at it about like singing and playing guitar, but they were also being mean to me about like everything else, you know, like the way I dressed, the way I acted, the way everyone dressed, the way everyone acted. I mean, middle school and high school is just a nightmare.
Sure.
Like kids are horrible, awful people. So it's like when they would say that, I would be like, oh, well, they're just mean about everything. Like that can't be true. So I didn't give anyone any credit. And, you know, like my parents, bless their hearts, weren't like, hey, you suck at this. You know what I mean? So I didn't have any frame of reference for whether or not it was like all of my criticism was just negative across the board. And like I was going to keep dressing however I wanted. So I was just going to keep singing however I wanted. And I think there were like lots of years where like I didn't improve necessarily because of that. But it was really just like, I think I just like heard progress, you know, I'd go back to a YouTube video, but the one the next year was a little bit better, or I recorded it that day and it was noticeably better. And then I'd go back, you know, and by freshman year of college, like the songs were all in tune. They were just a little like overzealous and sad. And then by the time we got to Neil Angle and really started writing songs, like not only did I think it was really good, but like people actually started paying attention to Not My Weekend, and I was like, okay, well, this is the what's the word I'm looking for? Like verification isn't in the right
validation.
Word. Validation. Thank you. Jeez. this is the validation that literally confirms that I'm improving to a degree that people like are entertained. Because like there's not much frame of reference when like you and your peers and your best friends are like, yeah, dude, it's getting better, but like no one's showing up, you know?
Right.
So when people started showing up, I'm like, okay, like good, it's getting better. You know?
Well, it's the same thing with podcasting. You're like, you never know. I don't know. So, okay, this is one thing I've always wondered about musicians. Okay, has there ever been like a fully formed song, you and the band, you're like, we made this song, it's amazing, we love it, and then did you do like bar shows and stuff? Like, would you go? Yeah. So, did you ever take a song out and it just straight up bombed? Like a song you thought was great, people just outright were like, no, thank you.
Yeah, and it's every crowd's different too. I mean, there's whole shows where you were like just telling me how cool Crawl is, and there's whole shows where Crawl just doesn't work because we're just playing to the 20 kids that only want to hear the heavy fast stuff, right? And then there's whole shows where Crawl is the biggest song because all the hipsters showed up that night or whatever, you know. But but no, I don't know if honestly, if I'm being real, like either a whole set would work or a whole set would bomb normally, like for the most part. And I think that's half and half of like a show going bad and half of just like us having a set of 6 not fun to listen to songs. Like and I recognize that now for sure. But as far as like stuff that we've like our recent stuff, the stuff on the EP and the LP that we've taken out, we haven't played anything to like an audience that really cares and likes it, that where it hasn't worked live yet. So I'm knocking on wood.
I will knock on my fake wood here too. So have you ever abandoned? I don't know. I'm just curious. Like, have you ever like had a song that just never got what you wanted and you just ended up abandoning, or you guys just didn't like to play? That seems silly. It sounds silly now to say it, but like something that you liked when you started, and then you got 20 times deep and you're like, I don't know if I still am into this song the same way I was when I started.
There was a song on the EP Yellow called Forever that has a full mix and master and was done, and we just cut. And I think I was kind of indifferent about putting it on. I mean, it was definitely the worst song on the EP. And I was a little indifferent about putting it on. Our drummer Noah was pretty insistent that it not be on the record, and Nick and Ed, my other 2 bandmates, are like, "Yeah, it's fine. We could just not." And that's kind of how I was on it. So yeah, that got cut, and it's like I don't know. It's a fun song, but it's just like it is the weakest link, and I think that the 6-song EP that we put out is like pretty consistent, the whole time. So I like that. I like we were able to do that. And I think it might have. So there's that song. And I mean, there's like a ton, there's dozens and dozens and dozens of demos that just like didn't make it past the pre-production process or whatever. But if I listen to them 2 months from now and decide they're worth their weight, I'll do them, or we'll do them, or someone will do them. But normally, if a song's getting cut, it's like there's 12 songs that are so much better than it that no one's really, upset about it. Or what'll happen is they'll be like, and this has happened a couple times where we'll have 12 songs that are really great, and they're like songs 11 and 12 are like, yeah, they're okay, but they make the cut, they're fine. And then like the day before, like you make your final decision, you write like the best song on the fucking record. Like it's like it happens it happens a lot where it's like the day before it's final decision making time, like 8 hours before it's a thing, you write like what seriously ends up being the single, and then those songs just fall to the bottom of the pile. And I'm never bummed about that. That's always a good problem, So
have you found it harder to write now? Because I would imagine, I mean, I have no idea what your writing process is, but I would imagine it's going out and living a life. And I don't know how easy that's been the past 8 or 9 months.
I think it was harder to write when I think for me, I don't know how to articulate what I'm saying. I think for me, living a life is not indicative to good songwriting.
No, I understand that.
So it's kind of to answer your question, no, I think it's the same. I think my best songwriting is pretty calculated, and like figuring out what's best going to sound cool, and like getting into a session and like dissecting what this good song is going to be. And like just between my computer and my acoustic guitar and my brain making all that happen. So and especially because all of our songs are like 90% of our songs are romantically based, or about a girl, and I'm in a happy committed relationship, so I just keep writing songs about her. It's really that's kind of easy to do. I don't have to go out and meet some new girl to make it happen. Yeah. But no, yeah, I think for me, like the pandemic and like being really locked down and being inside for literally, 9 months now or whatever, hasn't affected the writing all that much, because it was always, when a good song comes out, it's always just like, bunkering down and kind of treating it like a desk job almost, and just like not getting up until you have a cool song. Um, but yeah, like back in school, like we were just talking about, like when the songs were bad, it was always like I'm living life and I'm an inspired thing, and then it would come out like this melodramatic, like nothing mess with no melody. You know what I mean? Like it's just so. I don't think for me, no. I think everything's chilling writing wise. But that's a great question that I hadn't even thought about.
Well, it's funny because you say it like that, and I don't know. Like, I like the band Weezer, and I don't know much about Rivers, but the like rumor about him is that he is very, trying to math out, basically always trying to get the perfect song out. You know what I mean? Like, I don't exactly know what that means, but like I understand the idea of it, and it sounds like you have that kind of approach to of like, all right, I understand music, I understand what the people want. Let's try and make 2 + 2 = 4.
Absolutely. I'll get moments of like quote unquote inspiration when I'm just like out and about doing something. And sometimes those are like the very best lyrics, but normally the melody that I come up with in the moment is not that great. And those lyrics are always just reused in a better melody that is kind of hashed out at a later time. So there's a lot of like really good lyrics that come from moments like that. And every now and then there's like a melody or something that pops in my head and I just sing it into my phone. But for the most part, like if it's good, it's like it's a full like chord structure and maybe like one lyric idea that I've had on my phone or whatever, and then I just run with that for 2 verses and a chorus. You know what I mean? And I really admire that in Weezer. I think you can listen to Weezer's discography and like pick apart every part of that dude's brain, and like Weezer is that band that has had like that huge emo hit and then also Beverly Hills. And that's like amazing. Like, you know what I mean? And so, yeah.
So I have to know this, Not My Weekend. I'm sure you've explained it before. What up with that? What does that mean?
Oh, it's an all-time low lyric. It's an all-time low song. It's an all-time low song called Weightless. And the lyric is, maybe it's not my weekend, but it's going to be my year. And yeah, I love that band. That's like one of my favorite songs of all time. My sophomore year of school, like we were putting the band together, just because I wanted to be playing with my friends. It was me, my friend Jake McElwee, and my friend Sean O'Hagan at the time. And we had a list of like 5 band names. I think the final 3 were Back Against the Wall, Outstanding Us, and Not My Weekend. And we just asked all our friends like which one was best, and they all said Not My Weekend. And we were like, yeah, that's fine. Like it's not a crazy, it's not that crazy of a story. It was just like this'll work. We want to play a show, and we'll need to tell someone what we're called, and that's it. And I've just stuck to it. I just have not changed it. So
it's funny because like that is like Dragging the Table. This podcast came about because I, kind of in the same way. Like I don't even remember what other names for the show I had, but that scene in Men in Black where he is first like going to take the test, and they've got the other like 5 applicants, and they're in that room, and they've got to try and like take this paper test with a pencil, and he drags the table across, and he's like, hey, y'all want to get in on this? Like, I just like that scene. I like the idea of like, all right, he's going to do it the way he wants to do it. And I called it Dragging the Table. I have to explain it. There is no context. People, what is Dragging the Table? Why? And I say that story every time, and I'm like, should I just change this to like, it's the DJ show?
No, I love that. I love Men in Black, and I love that scene. That's like one of the funniest moments in that whole movie, and that's a great story. I think it should be a band now. You should make the whole podcast a band, because that's crazy. That's way better than mine.
I will do that. I can play at least 4 chords on a guitar. So there you go.
That's all I know. That's so.
Is that all? Do you play guitar? What all do you play? Or do you play like?
Yeah, I'm mostly a guitar guy. I understand piano because I like make it in my computer, but I couldn't actually play you what I write on a piano. And then I don't like shred on guitar or anything. I just like know where all the notes are, and I play my chords perfectly, and that's about it.
You seem like a very level-headed guy. Like the other connection that we have, the strong connection is your mom. Like
Yeah,
she is, she is maybe the most supportive, nicest person on the whole entire internet. Like she has made.
she's probably your biggest fan. She's probably your biggest fan, and she's like everything that she falls in love with, she's that thing's biggest fan. My mom is like a supporter through and through. She's the best in the world. And yeah, I've listened to your show many times just through her begging me to long before we got on this today. So yeah, no, she's the best.
So is that like, was it? Is that, I don't know, like, is that what it's like to have a good childhood? Is this the end result of that? Like, I had the opposite mother and the opposite family, so I'm like,
Oh, my mom, my
looking at
mom,
what I
my,
could have done.
my mom will be so happy to hear you say that because I don't think she thinks of it that way. um, yeah, I mean, my mom's just like supportive to a fault. You know, she would drive me to Denver to see these shows and then drive me back and stay up till 4 a.m, like every weekend or whatever, just so I could keep falling in love with the music. And she would like let me skip school to finish songs and stuff. And my dad was like, no, like he's got to go. And she's like, no, it's fine. This is better than school. So she's just, she's the sweetest and the best. And I'm so lucky to have her. And I couldn't have moved or be living here without her. And she's been working so hard, like these past few years, especially. This new job that she's been working is crazy. She's working in disaster management, like basically in charge of like all the relief funding for Hurricane Harvey a few years back, which you don't even think about because it was so long ago. But the relief for that is going to last like for more years to come. And I think she signed some contract about the coronavirus, so she'll be doing disaster management stuff for like the next decade or whatever. But I mean, she works so hard like in her life, and it's all for like the people that she uh um loves and supports, you know, herself included. And it's crazy and it's visible and it's dope. I don't know what I'd do without her. I mean, I really don't. Like my catalytic converter got stolen the other day and she just paid for half of it. So like,
Can I tell you, I saw, I feel so bad laughing at you, but as a guy who grew up in Florida, I, as a child, knew what a catalytic converter was because my people weren't like, this is something you need to know about and protect and fix. My people were like, this is the thing you can take from guys like Patrick and go bring it to the scrapyard.
it's the dumbest concept in the world. How is there something that valuable underneath my car? And also why did no one tell me? I'm not like I'm not making like I'm not taking great strides to protect my 2002 van that is empty, right? I'm not like there's nothing in it. You can open the doors and find nothing, right? So why is no one like, by the way, there's like a piece of like gold underneath your car, so don't park it on the dark street corner in LA. I don't get it.
Also, you can use that in a time of need.
Yeah, yes, yeah. I would have done it. I would have like the money they got from it might have been more than what I bought for the new one. Because like the new one I bought the other day is just like aluminum, right? It's totally worthless now. But before it was like platinum. Like what?
It's amazing. I remember learning about that when I was a kid and having pretty much the same reaction. I'm like, so we're just carrying treasure with us. And
yeah.
no one.
Oh, it's ridiculous.
It's amazing. I'm so sorry that happened, but I did laugh a little bit.
Oh, it's okay. Relative to how much a problem it could have been, it blew over very, very fast, which is nice. But I didn't even know what I was looking at. I got under my car and I was like, this looks like someone cut it out. And my dad was like, yeah, someone cut it out. And I was like, what are you talking about?
Oh my goodness. What does your dad think of all this? You know, the dad who was like, go to school, son, learn, I don't know, algebra.
My dad's stoked. My dad and my stepmom both are equally as supportive. They're the best. And my dad was much more honest with me throughout my growing up that I used to suck, for sure. Like he told me for years how bad it was. And now he thinks I'm so good. He like doesn't understand how people that aren't me are successful. He's like, he was listening to I showed him some Newfound Glory song, and he's like, who let these guys do it? You're so much better than this. I'm like, thanks, Dad. I appreciate that. But yeah, no, they're the best. They love that I'm out here. And my dad's biggest thing was he really wanted me to have a college education, and I was kind of resistant to that for a little bit. I thought that was super silly, but then luckily for both of us, I really fell in love with college my last 2.5, 3 years of school, and have my degree. And now that I have my degree, like, he's smooth sailing, like, do whatever you want, like, don't get a job, do your DoorDash, live in LA, like, make all your dreams come true, because I got my degree. And so like that was that important to him, and it wasn't that important to me, but I loved school. So like I was super happy to finish it, and I love telling people I had my degree now. So that, yeah, everything is okay there. They're the best.
What is your degree in, if you don't mind me asking?
It's in philosophy, actually.
So what? Tell me about it. Tell me all about it. I've only heard philosophy degrees be mocked. I've never heard what that is all about. So
it's the whole thing, because that is kind of the first question, is like, well, what kind of job are you going to get with that? And I've got a few different answers, one of which is I'm not. But philosophy for me, and the subject is so specific to whoever's teaching it, because it is like thinking about the world that you live in, right? Yeah. But there were only three professors in my entire department. And when you're, a junior and senior that has declared your major as philosophy, you get really close with them. Cause like the kids that graduated in my major, there was like 6 other kids with me, So I think they really just like, for me, it was all about perspective. And it became really clear to me, like my sophomore and the end of my second year of school, like, that philosophy was giving me all these tools to think about the world around me in like many different ways all the time. And like, I can't speak enough to what that does for your mental health, like to realize that like things are important or they're not so important, like at every turn, like as it's happening, like that's so important. It's crazy. And it's from all these thinkers throughout hundreds of, thousands of years of human experience or whatever, that have entire books about like what it means to live life efficiently and effectively. And like to really learn about that in a setting with people that love teaching it to you is like crazy. And, you can get your master's and you can get your doctorate and you can teach philosophy your whole life. Like, it's a pretty clear cut path if you only want to do philosophy. But I just like wanted to like get my doctorate and get that like mental health and like wanted to get my bachelor's, sorry. And get that perspective and get that mental health and get this knowledge that just like keeps me going in a better way. So there's the question of like people will ask, are you ever going to use that degree? And it's like, well, no, I probably won't use it like in a way where someone hires me because I have it, but I use it like every moment of every single day of my life, that degree, because Aristotle says like happiness is an action or whatever. And I'm like, whoa, he's right. And now I don't obsess over like finding contentment or whatever. Like I totally did. And like, I think a lot of people do, it's big wafting ideas like that I carry with me forever. And also recognize I might be wrong about, which is awesome. Because then I'm not obsessed about being right. Like you just go on forever and ever about all this good stuff I get from philosophy. So yeah, it's the best.
Well, and that's the thing is like everyone who speaks on philosophy, like hearing you talk about it now, it makes me realize that like it should be something that is like, very specific. You can go into infinity with it, if you would like to, but it seems like something that should be part of just every curriculum anyway, because everything you just said is things that people usually don't learn until they're in their late 20s or 30s. And they can look back and be like, now I have perspective and I know what the small things I should sweat are and the big things that I should take seriously. And you have no, what's the word? You have no roadmap. You know what I mean? Like in my early 30s, I got Zen in the Art of Motorcycle Maintenance. And I read the first chapter and I was like, well, my brain is too small for this right now. I'm going to put you down and pick you up later. Like,
Oh, that's so funny. It's like branded differently too, right? Like there's tons of self-help books, like The Secret comes to
mhm.
mind. Like all that is like really deep, like philosophy stuff that's just like, presented to you as being like a life coach or like branding or whatever, right? So I think there's lots of people, or like just therapy, there's tons of people
Yeah.
that find tons of philosophy stuff that's really, really helpful, like through those avenues, and just like don't even know that they're talking about big uh, ideas written in Plato books or whatever. But I think uh, the cool part about taking philosophy is like you realize what all that stuff is, and like you know what's self-helpy and what isn't, and again, like just because so many people have written about it, it's about everything and nothing all at once. But yeah, I mean, I like to think I would have figured it out, all that stuff, just through like getting really into The Secret or mental health via therapy or something like that at some point anyway. But you're totally right. You're 100% correct. I think it should be taught in all things.
Well, and the problem with things like The Secret and stuff like that is not necessarily because I have no idea. All I know is, again, what people have mocked about The Secret, but it's what's surrounding it. Like when you have this, like, pop culture version of philosophy, it's way harder to take it seriously because when you have nonsense people being like, I'm already a millionaire and I used The Secret and now I'm more of a millionaire. It's like,
Yeah.
okay, cool. Like, I have $100 for the next month. What am I supposed to do with that?
Yeah. No, those dudes are so silly, man. And I don't even know what to think you're absolutely right. And it's tricky. And for the most part, I just like don't even pay that any mind. I'm like, I don't know, man. Maybe you are. I'm not worried about it.
That's because you have the philosophy degree. Guys like me got wound up in that and had to like say my 2 cents about it and like, this is nonsense and stupid. And look at that guy, he's stupid. Because I had no perspective to stand back and look and be like, it's all nonsense.
Yeah,
Everything.
yeah. That's funny. Thank you. That's so funny.
So I saw, what was it? How long ago was the video for El Camino released? I saw it come out on Twitter, I think.
Oh, November 11th, I think.
Never forget.
I think no, I th- I think I think I think November 11th. Yeah, that's my favorite video that we've put together and that I think I've ever been a part of. I love that video so much.
How was it hard to get it together now, or was it fairly an easy Is it the first music video? No, it's not. It's not the first music video you've done, is it?
No, it's the first music video that I directed and edited entirely.
Amazing.
On the EP, on the EP, I employed my friends and a director in Denver who we hadn't worked with before, which was a big help. And since then, like I got really obsessed with editing videos, and it's like one of my favorite things now. And I just made dozens of videos, and I still needed a videographer. This guy, Daniel Wayne in Houston, Texas, Up in the Air Films. Check them out. They're literally insane. They're incredible because I haven't spent all that time learning how to shoot footage. I mean, I can totally shoot passable footage, but like El Camino looks insane. That's so hi-fi, and he color corrected it too. Like I can't do that. But when it came to like actually like directing a vision and like writing a music video treatment that a human being could follow and going to shoot it and going to cut it, I was like super confident. And then I was so happy when it actually turned out how I imagined it in my head. But yeah, to answer your question, I think it was pretty difficult to get together in the sense that like I spent weeks trying to find those cheerleaders. And I had a whole set of cheerleaders set up, and then they canceled on me 2 days before. And then I had to get a whole different set of cheerleaders ready to go. And then I spent weeks trying to line up a videographer. And then I had a whole videographer lined up, and then they canceled on me 3 days before. And then I found Daniel, who I was just singing his praises in like 48 hours notice. And he was like, let's do it. And then my uncle owns that car garage. I swear to God, the only car in that entire garage he didn't own was the freaking El Camino. So I've got an entire garage of supercars from the 60s and 70s, just the best vehicles ever made by mankind, but I don't have an El Camino. So for like a month, I'm looking for an El Camino. And just like, again, 48 hours before the whole thing came together, I found one 2 blocks from my uncle's garage. 2 blocks away. And they're like, yeah, we'll drive it over. We'll leave the keys with you. And I was like, oh my God, thank you so much. So like, I think it was really difficult. However, like 2 days before is pretty good for us. Normally we're on a 4 hours before type schedule. Like Daniel was like, you guys threw this together last minute. And my dad was there because it's my uncle's garage. So my dad's helping us do all the stuff, right? My dad was there. He's like, I don't know, 2 days before, that's pretty on par for this crew. We're kind of killing it. So yeah, I mean, I think my bandmates get pretty stressed about it, but you know, I've never really put my mind to us doing something and made a plan where I made a plan about it and it didn't work out some way. Normally things get like canceled and rescheduled 9 or 10 different times in between, but we always get to pretty much what I was trying to do. And with El Camino, that was like it. That was like exactly what I had in my head was what happened. So I was stoked.
Well, that's awesome. So what did you approach it kind of the same way that you do to a song? And like, what do you think like your biggest takeaway? Like, what would you do different on the next video?
Yeah, I mean, I just approached it like we just had this song El Camino, and like I said, my very nice, very rich uncle, Uncle Frankie, collects all these cars. So I was like, that we're going to his garage. Like we're gonna play this song El Camino about this car in that garage. Like it has to be like the location was the whole thing. And you know, that's like my uncle, that's my blood, but that's like $1,000, like thousands of dollars just to use that location for the day. On any other video shoot, you know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
it doesn't. So like it was the opportunity that really drove me, you know, because just like the fact that we can go and shoot there for free is insane. Like it's the nicest space. So I just like, that was the driving force, just that we had written this song and that there was that space. That was the driving force. So I just like wrote out this whole like Grease Lightning thing around what the space is. And just like knew we had to find an El Camino, knew there was a cheer part. So I was like, it's good if there's cheerleaders in it. And then I literally just like had a shot order, just like cut to Patrick, cut to Ed, cut to Nick, cut to Noah, cut to full band. El Camino shot here, no El Camino shot there. It's just like really basic, just like cheerleaders, no cheerleaders, just all in order. And then we just got there, and then we just shot it all, and then we shot a bunch of drone stuff that we didn't plan on because Daniel is like obsessed with drones and he made it amazing. So yeah, that was it. It was really just the location. And you know, there's another music video coming out on January 8th for the song Honeymoon, and that's all on a green screen. And that was also kind of the location in a roundabout way, because we made it all on green screen because there were no locations we could go to, because we made it in March when the whole world shut down. So there was no location that would have us or that we could even ask to go to because coronavirus, like we made it on like March 20th. Like, I mean, there is not a place open on the planet. Right.
Yeah.
So that's like this crazy, like green screen, like Blue's Clues video. That the driving force behind that was just like, well, there's nowhere to go. And that ended up, you know, being super cool and cartoony as well. And I'm stoked on that. But, you know, at this point, like, apparently to me, location is everything for a music video. Especially because, I'm not a big fan of like storyline videos, storyline music videos. I mean, like, I totally get it. They've worked for years, but for some reason, I just don't really like when there's like the band playing, and then there's like a boy that meets a girl, and then they like go to the show at the end of the video. I'm like, yeah, all right,
that's me on stage. Look,
yeah, right? Yeah, I just don't like. That's fine, I get it, but I don't want to make those. I would literally much rather just like look at the band in some cool place. So I think like whatever the next video is, I'll probably just find some spot. Before coronavirus happened, the Color Factory actually said that we could come make a video in their space. It's like this crazy art museum experience zone place. And that would have been amazing. And I think those guys like me enough that I could probably leverage that out of them maybe by the next album cycle. But yeah, it'll just be about, and it's about the song too, like normally I know which songs I want to have music videos. And then lots of times it's right in the lyric where the video should be, just in the back of an El Camino. So
El Camino.
Yeah, exactly.
What was I going to say? Well, and that, especially now, I would think that doing a video like that, where you are just basically where you would want to be if you were at a show, like right on top of the band, like that would be the kind of video that people would want. Like, you don't want to see someone walking out and knocking on the door and you want to come out with me, here's some flowers. Like, that is not happening right now. And that is not, like, usually the people are stuck with their significant others. I say stuck. They are enjoying every moment with their significant others. And they're like, I miss going out to a show, and you can give that to them.
Right. Yeah. I mean, also, like, I think in recent years, people have made like crazy, cool, creative music videos. And, I want to compete with those. Machine Gun Kelly just did that whole music video where they are physically dragging a car on its top, like they're dragging the hood of the car on the street. Like that's insane. And that's the whole video, is just them playing on top of this moving upside down car. Like that's the kind of creativity I want to compete with. Or like Billie Eilish, like just zooming in on a one shot of her eye bleeding black. That just, on paper, that's dumb, but the video is so sick. It's like awesome. So I want to be on that level, in terms of that stuff.
Well, that's it. That's you as a kid. If everyone is telling you like, this is dumb, what you're doing is dumb, like, okay, I'm on the right track.
We'll see.
I'll end up where I need to be sooner or later. So what is it like in California right now? Where, if you don't mind, or if you can divulge, like, whereabouts in California are you? You guys locked down again? Bless you.
No, thank you. We're in Van Nuys. It's great. We're in the valley of Van Nuys, and our little like condo section is like super safe, and this part of the valley is super safe anyway, which I'm really excited about, just because, like, I'm protective of my girlfriend and my friends, and I DoorDash until like 4 a.m. So it's definitely it was important to me that we were in a super safe spot, and I definitely feel that here. We're in Van Nuys. We're 2 blocks from a couple different studios and friends that I knew before we moved here, which was also important to me, just to be within proximity of like people I knew I wanted to collaborate with before we moved. And we're half an hour from Hollywood, half an hour from the beach in Malibu. Like it's a dream come true. It's awesome.
So do you live with all your bandmates?
No, I live with my guitar player, Nick Hudson. And then my drummer, Noah Hammondtree, just got a job working real estate for his dad in Laramie, Wyoming, which is where we graduated and lived. And he's stoked on that and making significantly more money than Nick and I are. And he's working on music now more than ever, actually. And I think the plan is for all of us to just get together and practice before, a potential tour in the future when that comes back. And then our bass player, Ed Ma, just bought a house with his girlfriend in Denver last year.
Awesome.
And he loves Denver. He's a Denver straight edge hardcore kid through and through. So I don't think he'd ever live there. But yeah, the plan is for like everything to open back up, us to book a tour. And then I think I would like for them to come here and us to leave with the van out of here, just practice in literally this garage 2 weeks before shows start, and then go. But I totally see a world where we end up like meeting in Denver, meeting in Laramie for a couple weeks of practice, and then taking off. But that might prove to be more of a problem than I think it is. But we'll find out when there's shows.
Have you guys been? Excuse me. Have you guys been the same band since you formed? No. I say that wrong. Well, let me say that I accidentally asked a good question. I'll ask that question first, and then ask you what I meant to ask you.
Every member of the band has changed except for me at this point.
Gotcha.
And I actually tell people this. I tell people this a lot. All Time Low and Bowling for Soup, as I mentioned earlier, were like 2 of my biggest influences. And I think in a way, they sort of gave me an incorrect or negative perception on what it meant to be in a band, because I was under this impression that you met your best friends in high school, they joined your band, and then nothing ever changed. Because that is those bands' experiences. Bowling for Soup and All Time Low are like the two bands in history that have had their same lineup since they were 14 years old. And they're the only two. I don't know how. It's like good for them. Like someone out there blessed their souls or something. It's insane. And then, just whatever. I thought I thought I was going to be able to do that. And just everyone quit just over and over and over again. Just like, I quit. Pat, you're great, but I quit. Nick joined the band my junior year of high school and his sophomore year. And Nick has been like my best friend and my right-hand man ever since. He is fully in Not My Weekend. And we have lived together for like 6 years now. So yeah, Nick has been in the band for a long, long, long time. And he was really, really good friends with Noah. And I knew Noah, but because we went to the same high school, but we didn't really become super great friends until like my freshman year of college and his, it would have been junior year of high school, because he's 2 years younger than us. So maybe it's my sophomore year of college and his senior year. But yeah, then we became really close, and he like had expressed that he was like really into like Fall Out Boy and pop punk in general. And I didn't really realize that's something he was interested in. And then he joined the band on bass. And then 3 or 4 drummers later, we just couldn't find one. And he just he learned drums from the ground up. He just completely learned the drum set for this band and killed it. Like, he's my favorite drummer that we've ever played with, like by a long shot. It's no contest. And then we met Ed Ma in Denver at a show. And he's a bit older than us, but it was really clear to me instantly, like, how smart he was. Like, he's the smartest guy in the band. He's so smart. And it was also really clear to me how long he'd been in it. Like he booked Mayday Parade in like Cheyenne in like 2008 when he was, like 15 or whatever. Like, he like loves music and the scene and hardcore, and he loves the community, and everyone loves him. Like, he just knows everyone and he loves everyone. We met him at backstage at a Real Friends show because he was teching for Have Mercy. And he was like, "Hey, I know you guys. We live in the same town," because he was going to our college. He was like, "You're Pat, right?" And I was like, "Yes." And I knew I should know his name because we'd talked. And I was like, "Oh, I know I should know your name." So I like faked my way through it. And then he like left like the circle or whatever. And one of our other buddies, I was like, "Hey, what's his name?" And he's like, "Oh, that's Ed." And I was like, "Are you sure that's it? His name's Ed?" He's like, "Yeah, dude, no, that's Ed." And then he came to a practice like that week, and we left for 5 days of tour, like 3 days later. Like, and he was just like, "Yeah, I'll go out." And for some reason, he hasn't left the band yet. So yeah, that's Ed, and he's an incredible bass player, and he really plays a little bit of everything. And I ask Ed for advice about lots of stuff, and Ed's got a lot of ideas. And again, he's really smart, and he fixes our stuff all the time. He's fixed the van a few times. He built our guitar cabs that are sitting right next to me, and he helped put together like our backline of amps, and it's my dream setup. Like, I wouldn't change it if we were playing Madison Square Garden. Like, it's literally perfect. So
that's awesome.
Yeah.
It's always nice to have like that person that you just immediately click with. You know what I mean? Like, it's funny because what was it? Somebody a while back was talking about like soulmates, and in the context of like being partners with a person, or like being in a relationship with someone. But I think you can just be soulmates with just meet a person and be their friend, and you are soulmates. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, just those people you just pick up with immediately, and you're like, all right, let's go.
No,
like, okay.
No, totally. I agree completely. And also, I don't want to like. It's not all Candyland. We definitely bicker. You know what I mean? Especially on tour, like, we can get at it a little bit. But there's, at this point, like, the four of us are so committed, it's crazy, to the point where it's like, I think we could get in a huge fight, but we're just like, we're all still in this band. You know what I mean? And that makes me really, really happy. And I hope and believe that will continue for a long, long time. And I think my girlfriend just opened the door because she has to leave the garage right now. Okay. Is that okay? She's going to open the garage, so it's going to be loud for a second.
Oh yeah. We will have a whole ceremony if you'd like.
Okay. Let's have a ceremony for you leaving. Okay. All right. We're on YouTube Live, so there is no cutting this. Just everyone sees it.
Everyone's going to see it. This is going in the audio version.
Fun, huh? Sorry, guys. Okay, bye, babe. Love you. Have
Hey,
fun.
thank you for lending us your boyfriend for a little
Yeah,
while.
word, honestly. Are you gonna dash like the whole dinner shift? After this, I'll probably go till like midnight. So okay, all right. So we're just both out for the night. Okay, have fun. I'll see you later. Will you close the garage? Okay, thank you.
Yeah, it's good to have someone that will can just be on the same page as you. Yeah, we'll talk through the motor. I don't care.
Go, leave, go.
Tell her to honk. Do the honking motion.
No. Hit the button. It's important to me that you hit the button. Okay, thank you.
Do you
Okay.
hear that? Oh my gosh. Yeah, it's great when you have someone that you can just be like, okay, you're good, I'm good, let's go.
Yeah, word. Absolutely.
Did she move out with you or did you meet her in
Yeah, we met both of our respective last years of college, and then she actually did 5 months in Japan, and we were long distance for like the beginning of our relationship, which was weird. But then I went and visited her in Japan, and it was like the greatest thing I've ever done. So I wasn't complaining. And then yeah, we kept dating through. I mean, like I fully made her my girlfriend, and we like fully committed to each other within like a month. Like we're really into each other. And she, but yeah, we kept dating and kept at it through quarantine. And we went from like being mostly long distance for like the first year of our relationship to like all of a sudden only seeing each other and no one else for the months. And she like within like the first 2 weeks of us hanging out, I had mentioned that I wanted to move to LA after I graduated, and she said that she wanted to move to either Japan or LA. Like those were the only two places she ever wanted to live, and we can't move to Japan right now. So so yeah, so it was really like we had said like way early on that we both wanted to live in LA separate from dating each other. So which was comforting and nice to me because like I didn't feel like I was dragging her here when we came.
Yeah.
But yeah, we crashed with my parents in Texas while we looked for a place for 2 months or whatever, and we crashed at our guitar player Nick Hudson's parents' house for like 4 months over quarantine. Just because like she went to Japan and I went to Portland to make a record, and then we were going to go on tour, so I wasn't going to get a house until after all those tours. And then the world shut down, and I wasn't going to start paying rent when I didn't have a job and all my tours got canceled.
Yeah.
So our plan was to move to LA over the summer since we were just saving money and not doing anything. And then it took us for almost 5 months to actually find the place. Didn't get here till September. But yeah, yes, we moved together, and I convinced Nick and my best friend Sam Marcus, who actually does merch for Not My Weekend, to come with us as well. So we're all out here now. Me, Michaela, and Nick all just DoorDash. Like I just told her, I DoorDash from like 5 p.m. to like 4 a.m. like 4 or 5 days a week, and that gets me paying the bills. And then Sam's got a baller job for his mom where he is in charge of a suicide prevention program for the school district in Cheyenne, Wyoming. But that's all online, and he just does that from here. So
that's awesome.
It's the best.
Do you see yourself ever moving to or living in Japan?
I'd love to spend a year there. There's not enough music and there's not enough creative opportunity in Japan without speaking Japanese for me to feel comfortable like really doing it long haul there. But if I was in a position where like we had a ton of money saved up and I was feeling good about like how the band was doing or whatever, I love it there so much. I would totally go for a year or 6 months or something crazy. Like it is the best place on earth. But it's just like the music there is like emulating American culture, or it's anime, but it's anime where they're speaking Japanese. So like I would love to be a part of anime. I'm a huge anime fanatic, but like it's all English and right here in LA. If you're, if I'm working on it, you know what I mean? And then And then yeah, the music out there, it's like big Japanese rock bands, or it's like American cover bands like playing what is like American music, or honestly, it's like pop punk bands like going overseas. Like there's a huge market for punk rock in Japan. It's crazy, but they just listen to like all the same bands I do. You know what I mean? So I don't think I could pursue my career in the way that I want to in Japan. But if I had the money to just kick it for a year, absolutely. Yeah.
Like, what would be your like perfect day in Japan?
Oh, dude, I think we had it. We went to the Gundam base for like 8 hours and looked at every Gundam that's ever been made in history, and just found a Japanese guy that spoke perfect English. We just geeked out over all the stuff there, and we went to this like um we had this like 3D like VR experience in the mall where we were like in Attack on Titan, and then we left and like hit the beach, which is also like right there because Japan's an island. Um, and just like and they have arcades that are open 24/7, so it's 4 a.m. and I won like a Captain America from a Japanese crane machine. Like it's dude, there's no not perfect days in Tokyo. There's no not perfect days in Tokyo.
So I know nothing about anime. When you say Gundams, are you talking about the literal like 15-foot or however tall like mech suits?
I am talking about the 15-foot tall mech suits, of which there is a life-size one outside of the Gundam base that I did not know moved. I
That's
thought it was
okay.
a big I thought it was a big statue. Apparently, every hour on the hour, it turns on and move. I thought we were under attack. Japan's first line of defense was this Gundam, and it was activating. I lost it, dude. I was so pumped.
That's amazing.
Yeah, no, and then it's like their headquarters, and they have like it's a toy line and an anime predominantly, right? So they're equally popular for how like incredibly popular and like high quality and low quality their animes are over the last 30 years, Gundam, of which I haven't actually watched that many. And then they're equally popular for how incredible their model kits are. They're, the best model kits ever to be made in the world. These robots designed for war or whatever. And like it's their HQ, and it's the entire top floor of this mall on like the west side of Tokyo. And they have every single one they've ever made. And they have a staff of, hundreds of people when it's not a pandemic that want to talk to you about every single one. It's so dope. I'm literally like, Gundam isn't even my main anime. It's not even my main thing, but like just seeing it experience like that, it's crazy.
What is your main? Because the one I keep hearing, the one that keeps coming up, again, I know nothing about nothing.
Right.
But the one that keeps coming up is One Piece. Are you a One Piece?
We're watching One Piece right now. We're watching One Piece for the first time right now. Michaela and I are on episode like 120. First time we've ever seen it. It's so good. No, for me, it's Naruto and Dragon Ball Z. We're like the first two. And then, like Yu-Gi-Oh, Pokemon, Digimon, those helped raise me. And I'm actually working on a crazy project, like directly related to those right now, that I won't say on YouTube live, but, the entire Not My Weekend Street team is helping me with it. And, my buddy and collaborator, Jared, goes under the artist name Veins, who writes a bunch of songs with me. He's helping me work on it. So like when I say I'm into anime, like there is a very serious, creative, hopefully money-making project that I want to talk about like before 6 months of the new year, if we can manage. So yeah, it's like all those. And then like in high school, I got really obsessed with like the specific ones, like Death Note and like Mongolian Chop Squad and like all the really weird animes, but yeah, like Naruto, Dragon Ball Z, One Piece, Yu-Gi-Oh, Pokemon, Digimon, like those are all like, those like shaped me as much as Star Wars and Spider-Man did, so yeah.
That's awesome. It's so weird like how those will just hit you hard or not, because like I think the only one that I really I take it back. When I was in college, I watched Cowboy Bebop pretty religiously. And then as an adult, I tried to watch, I think I got through most of the first season of Attack on Titan.
Yeah.
And I was just like, all right, one of them talks now. I can't.
Were you watching the dub or the sub?
The dub.
You were watching I don't watch the dub of Attack on Titan. The Attack on Titan dub is not my favorite.
Well, well, first of all, it was more horrifying than I even could have imagined initially, because I was like, oh, this is going to be pretty terrible. And then it was like, no. We are going to eat children legs first.
That's funny.
But yeah, I don't know. It's so for someone like me, is there something like a One Piece that you would be like, all right, you need to try again, try this?
So I mean, the biggest problem with One Piece is it doesn't end. Like when I say it doesn't end, I mean it literally hasn't ended yet, and there are over 1,000 episodes, and they're all canon. Like you're supposed to see all of them. Like we've started it, and I don't plan on finishing it. Like I plan on just getting bored. Like, and that's totally fine. I don't know. It kind of depends on what you're into. Like whatever your favorite like media is in like American culture, there's probably a baller anime like about it. So like, what's your favorite thing? What's your jam just in your day?
I don't know how to answer that other than saying podcasting. Like this is what I enjoy doing.
Well, I mean, so like, is it bands? Like, is you know what I mean?
What do you mean bands? Like listening to music?
Yeah, of course. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, I mean, it's funny because like I've always wondered what the divide was between someone who really, really loves music and gets emotional about it, and then just always ever listens. Like that's me. Like I was the guy who just loved music, could play 4 chords, but never was like felt the urge to start a band. Like, and the people that are like, no, 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 I need to go and bring this. I need to bring the heat, the smoke.
Yeah.
I need to bring it all. Like, do you still get? I know this is not answering the question, but do you still get like? I was gonna say emotional about songs, but have you ever been able to get emotional about any songs that you have made?
Yeah. I mean, like kind of like what we were talking about earlier. I used to for every single song, but then they just weren't very good. Like the songs were all emotion and they were no melody or structure. You know what I mean?
But what I mean is like listening back to them. So I'm weird because like I listen to stuff a lot because like the first time I go through, like I'll usually if I want to. Okay, so perfect example. Like Logic decided he was going to retire, and
Yeah.
I was like, I barely knew who Logic was, and I was like, who is this child who is going to say that he is going to retire? How dare he? And so instead of just like dismissing him, I was like, well, I'm going to listen to all of his albums except for the last one. Like I made it my mission to like soak in everything that he had so that I could see if there was something there. And the way that I listen to music usually is like I'll listen to it and I'll just kind of hear it, but not listen to it. Does that make sense? Like I won't hear lyrics. I'll just kind of like see if I like how it feels. And then I'll go back and listen to it. And then it gets deeper and deeper the further I get into it. By the time I mentioned Crawl to you because by the 4th time I heard that song, I was like, am I getting a little misty right now?
That's so interesting. No, I think you're right on the money. I think I have a few bands like that. I think I've got I definitely there's a handful of bands where I'm like really connected like to the story and to the journey and I the Jonas Brothers, All Time Low, and Bowling for Soup all being one of those, and that definitely helped me fall in love with music because I was like 100% like listening to the story of everything they were singing and writing about, and I was obsessed with like the drama of it all and like the emotion of it all. And Real Friends comes to mind. That's another one that probably does it for me. Mac Miller is a great example, partly almost entirely because of his death, but like listening back to his discography, like that story, like a kid that just got hyped and slowly got sad. It's insane. It's insane, dude. So yeah, I think there's a lot of that. I don't feel it as much in our own music really at all. I guess just kind of because I hope that's for other people. You know what I mean? I hope other people find that in the stuff that we're making. But yeah, absolutely. The Jonas Brothers, especially like that band has put their fans and supporters through the ringer. And I've been right there with them since I was 13 and since they were 13. So like,
yeah, it's crazy that you mentioned Mac Miller too, because like I was kind of the same way with him as I was with Logic. Like I knew what was it? Why can't I think of the album? The one that had Knock Knock on it. Why can't I say it?
Blue Slide Park?
No, I'm Kids. Why couldn't I say it?
Knock Knock is on Kids, isn't it? Yeah, that's sick. Yeah.
like I knew that album pretty forwards and backwards, but that was about it. I didn't really go much deeper, and it was the same thing. Like he died, and then I kind of went straight through and was like, it was all right there. Like it
Yeah,
was
or
all right there.
it's all yeah, it's crazy. Yeah, Chester from Linkin Park, same kind of deal where he's literally like screaming about it every night for his whole life.
I
And it's like,
remember the crazy thing about Linkin Park is I remember when the first album came out. I was in high school, and I remember before Linkin Park and after Linkin Park, and it was bananas because it just was like overnight. Everyone didn't just know who Linkin Park was. They had their album. They knew all their songs. They were like, all right, we've already, even though it's only been out for 24 hours, we've heard it 48 times, and we need you to give us the next one. Please hurry.
yeah, no, Linkin Park is a smash success. They're a huge rock band. Yeah, it is. Yeah, that one's heartbreaking. Yeah,
It was
they're all
not.
heartbreaking. Yeah.
It, I mean, I don't know. I don't know. Again, I've been listening to a lot of Logic, but like, how have you gotten to a point to where you've had to deal with any kind of negative people, negative like negativity coming your way?
Yeah, in my life, yeah.
Well, of course, you're right. But I mean, like, as a band, like, to put it into perspective, like this show and like the other show that I do with my wife, The Untrained
Yeah,
Eye, like
of course.
we're at a level that the people that interact with us are the people that kind of know us and like us, and there aren't too many like outside influences. Like, if there was someone that was like, "You guys suck," and you're ugly and I hate you. Like they would just stick out so crazily that you know what I mean? Like there's no way they could fall into like a background of people
I,
just talking smack or talking nice.
I see. I mean, yeah, I guess so. I think there's probably like one or two hate comments here and there. And I like my YouTube channel when I was like 11 used to be entirely hate comments just because like that's what YouTube was at the time and I wasn't good at it. But yeah, I think there's like, yeah, the like when we first put out When You're Around, there was like a Facebook page that was like saying it was cheesy and bad. And I think there's like a couple negative things on our sucker video, and there's yeah, I don't know. They're out there, but I literally like I'll either troll them or I just like right now I've just completely forgot that they even happened. Like I don't know. Especially people don't like stuff, you know, and they normally they don't even know why they don't like it. They're just stoked on not liking it, you know. And I'm kind of into that too. There's some stuff in my world where like I've decided I'm not gonna like this. That's gonna be fun. Like, yeah, this thing's stupid. Like I don't like Hamilton. I watched it and it was dumb. It's like one of the best plays of all time, right? Everyone's told me how cool that musical is. Everyone's like, it's a masterpiece. I'm like, no, it's not.
Is that true? Do you really not like Hamilton?
I really don't. And look, this is my point. I don't have a great reason. I just watched it and I was like, you know what? I've decided this is my one thing. I need something I don't like, and this is it. This is dumb.
Can I tell you why we're kindred spirits? My thing was the movie Titanic with Leonardo DiCaprio. Everyone was like, you got to. And I was like, first, I just didn't see it because I just wasn't able to. And then I could, but just didn't want to anymore because so many people had said to. And to this day, I love, much like I'm sure the faces you get about Hamilton, the faces I get about Titanic. Like, how could you not? It was a mess.
Yeah. And I guess I mean that's like an example of something that like I just don't like, and I didn't really think about it that much. I just decided, and if we ever get negative comments or hate comments or whatever, it's like, yeah, it's fine, do your thing. There was one time a band that we really liked and we played a couple shows with maybe said something about us on the internet that was less than kind, and we don't even know that it was about us, but we're pretty sure it was about us. And that I wasn't super upset, but our drummer Noah was like really like upset. Like that hurt him, and it hurt us all a bit because we really like that band. I still really like that band. Their songs are so good. And again, I'm not talking trash because I don't even know if it was like what they said on the internet was truly about us. It just like we just did a bunch of math and we were like, I don't know who else they could be talking about.
Well, it seems because that's one thing I've come to the conclusion too. Like the things that a random person says don't necessarily hit as much as someone who is doing the same thing that you're doing. You know, Because in my case, other podcasters, if they have something to say, because by the way, if you want, I'm sure being a musician is the same way, but if you want to find a bunch of the most gossipy, just niche high school children, podcasting is like if you miss high school so bad and you need to live it again and you can't go and play football, that is what you should do, is be a podcaster, because it is amazingly so much smack talk, and you DMs of, I can't believe, you'll never believe what they said, and you should, and it's amazing.
No, I and guilty. I feel guilty about it, but I love that. I love gossip so much. Like, it's my favorite. And there's so much of it in the scene and in bands and in LA especially. It's like through the roof, the drama and gossip. And I love it. I love a good gossip, to the point where if I find out someone is like talking shit about me or like gossiping about me, I'm like, dude, that's fine, because I'm down. like I really am not even mad. I'm just like, yeah, like let's run it.
But it's also the right people too. Like, if someone comes at you and tells you something, I don't know, like, because of course I know it's like guys aren't supposed to enjoy gossiping, but I love it too.
Yeah,
but I like it with people that, like, I don't know, I like to gossip, but I don't like to be mean. And that's what I don't like, is when like you get the legit, this guy said this, what do you want to do about it? It's like, come on, man. Like, because that's what you said about that band that may or may not have been directing something at you. Like, I look at it as like, we're both going towards the same thing. Like, why wouldn't you just be on my side? You know how hard this is.
Yeah. No, of course. Yeah, I know. And I'm totally with you. I don't like being mean to anyone. I would never, like, I try and practice kindness in all aspects of everything, but I just like hearing what people are up to. And I love when it like gets through the train of everyone else, and you're completely right. It's just weird when you get on, like, I don't know. That was so funny. I don't
know. Well, it all goes back to, like, especially now, like, because I had the civilians run in with being almost canceled because somebody was saying something about making a joke about a comedian at an open mic making a joke that a trans person was the butt of the joke. And the upper level comedian was like, this is unacceptable. I will never allow someone like this to be at my open mics ever again, da da da. And I foolishly said something along the lines of, like, you gotta figure out you're funny somehow, or like you should be able to joke about what you want at an open mic. Like, not saying like, just get on the internet and be like, the most hateful things I've ever said.
Right.
Because my thought is, you have to find out what's not funny before you can find out what is funny. So if you go up there and make jokes about trans people and no one laughs, well, you might not make those jokes anymore.
Yeah, no, it's a learning experience, right?
Well, guess what? This dialogue happened way cooler than the one that happened on Twitter, because I got lit on fire by people that are like, by the way, making the same kind of assumptions that they supposedly, this open micer might or might not have been making, telling me how I'm homophobic and transphobic and a bad person. And after I tried to apologize, like, you're gaslighting us now and you need to go away. And it's like, okay, man. And it gets to that point to where, like, I had, I don't know, like 20 or 30 notifications that I was like, well, I'm just going to clear those and never look at them.
Yeah, it's a runaround, and it's a mess, and everything gets lost in communication, like, immediately. Like, the communication just disappears, and like it's just never translated, and it's all out of context right away. And that's just, like, watching people like get canceled, quote unquote, or whatever, from an outside perspective. That's how I think it is. And also, like, recently people have been canceled for stuff that I think is legitimately pretty bad, and then just like are fine, just like keep doing it. So I don't even know, dude. That whole, in 2017, when everyone started getting canceled, I thought that was like kind of an interesting thing to look at. And I thought the first James Charles one was super funny. I thought that was hilarious when James Charles got canceled. But that's kind of my point, is I never thought that one was that bad, like, or whatever his situation was, or whatever. And he just like kept making videos and everything's fine. And, unless you're really doing like some like truly like really immoral stuff. And there's only, a handful of those out there. I think that the internet just runs with stuff like that. So yeah, I don't even know.
No, it's crazy. It's why like I used to be more active on Twitter, and I just had kind of have pulled way back on it. But that's what I like about Twitter and Instagram and now TikTok. Like it's guys like you that expose me for what I am, which is not knowing how to do it at all. Like, so what I noticed about you is that like, so I watched you on like a YouTube video or something. I think it was like a makeup tutorial or something you did with your girlfriend. And and I noticed that the person that you are like when you're doing your TikToks and the person that you are on your YouTube, like it's not two different people. It's just your same personality just dialed up to 10. You know what I mean? And that is why, because that's why I can go flip through your TikTok and all of them are good, because it's not, hey guys, I was just here doing the, next hashtag challenge. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I'm doing the next, what was it? What was the last challenge? The kick bottle, the kick cap. What was it?
That was cool. When everyone was flipping around doing kicks and they're kicking the caps off bottles, that was cool.
And then it just, by the way, I feel like that was also the last one. Like what has shown up after that?
Well, I mean the WAP.
Well, did it though? It like, by the way, the meme of that was the the meme of that was the moms on Facebook groups that were like, this better mean
yeah, that's I mean, they really fueled the fire. Like how much they hated that really skyrocketed it to number one. Like really.
We've had the internet for so long. You would think we would all know this by now. The more attention you get, you will never believe what this means.
That song and that dance went crazy, dude. I would say that was a trend for sure. I'm trying to think of there's probably a more recent one that I'm not even thinking of right now. There's one going around about gender norms right now that I think is really funny. I'm actually like making one like right after we get off this, so I'll post it and you can see it.
Do you have any opinions on any of that? Because by the way, I know like I told you I defended someone joking about a trans person or whatever. Like I have no skin in the game either way. I'm just like a straight guy that is just like, I don't know, man. I'm trying to do my best not to make anybody mad.
I don't know. I'm just a straight white guy too. But I've always been pretty feminine, and I've gotten called most of the gay slurs that are out there just for my jeans and my hair or whatever.
Your jeans and your hair. They did it to all of us.
Yeah, right. So I don't know. It's always been weird, and there's lots of people that think I'm bi, and my girlfriend thought I was bi, like right, and like a month into us dating for like a long time, she thought I was still bi. So it's whatever. Gender norms are silly, and just do whatever you want. I think people arguing about gender norms are silly, and I think there's lots of ways you can be manly and lots of ways you can be feminine, and it's all dope. Do your thing.
It seems like we have so much more to be not interested in, but paying attention to than the gender norms. Because by the way, I don't know what the gender norms are, because if the gender norms are what they were, quote unquote, traditionally, then I shouldn't have laundry in the dryer that I have to fold after this.
Yeah, right. Word. That's a great point. It's just whatever. There's the line disappears and reappears in new places all the time. It's whatever. And I agree with you 100%. There are more interesting things. The Mandalorian's on right now. It's really good. You should go watch that instead.
We are on the last episode. We have one more episode to go.
Bro.
Do not listen. Yeah, believe me. A lot of it has already been spoiled for me. But
no.
Yeah, of course.
I'm so sorry.
I'll say it everywhere. It got spoiled in a headline. Yeah,
you have to watch like the hour it drops. There's no
That was the thing. It was the same day. It was the same day that episode dropped that I saw.
I know. You have to watch I'm waiting by the TV. Like I am not. I'm watching it in real time. Like there's no chance of me getting on Twitter and seeing it. I have to. we were gonna not watch it. We were gonna wait till Friday night because my girlfriend was tired and wanted to go to bed. And I was like, Michaela, I have to. I'm so sorry. I watched it without her. I was like, I don't know what to tell you. I'm watching it now. She's
And were
like,
you
all
like
right.
jumping on the couch, screaming in the other room, like
She just asked me if we could wait till Friday, and I was like, no.
no.
I'm sorry, it can't happen.
I have to go on the internet, and the internet's going to ruin it for me. Like
Right?
the internet
Yeah,
does.
that's what I said. That's what I said. She was like, you could just go a day without your phone, and I was like, well, now we're both being ridiculous.
Okay, so you got to tell me, what did you think of the sequel trilogy?
Oh, I thought it got worse as it went.
Okay,
It's not like I totally like it. I think they all have the Star Wars magic, you know? I think that 7, 8, and 9 all do it, like have that magic feeling that only Star Wars and the Marvel Cinematic Universe can truly bring. But I think that 7 is a pretty good, fun celebration of Star Wars. Yes. I think that 8 has some of the best moments in all of Star Wars, but the moments that are bad are so bad that it kind of devalues how good those incredibly insane moments are. And I think 9 is just straight up dumb.
Yeah, I agree. Like the way I've described it, and I will stand by this description forever. Those movies, if you just showed me any one of those movies and didn't tell me where in the trilogy it went, I would want to see the subsequent movie. Like if you just showed me The Last Jedi and you were like, there is 2 more movies that are based solely on this movie, I would be like, amazing. Because it was basically 3 movies from 3 different trilogies that all came together, that just all from the wrong dimensions. Like we just got the wrong canister.
That's a great way to put it, and I completely agree. And I truly like in the entire trilogy, I think Kylo Ren is the only character that is really done justice, and that makes me sad, specifically for Finn, because I loved Finn as a character in The Force Awakens like so much, and he really. Yeah,
they just made everyone try. They were like, everyone is nothing. No one means anything. There's a dagger now, and whatever. Everything is just
Again, I still think they all have the magic. I've still watched them all multiple times. I still love them all, and there's definitely moments in 9 that I really do like fully love. But it's just I think that they get just a little bit worse. And I don't think that any of them are. I think Force Awakens is maybe better than 2 of the 3 prequels, but I think Revenge of the Sith and the OG trilogy are still like so much better than everything else.
It's weird because the crazy thing to me about Star Wars is that its spin-offs are usually so wildly better than what comes out of it. Because like the prequel trilogy was. I went back and watched it when Disney Plus came out, and it's not good in the sense that like the acting isn't great. Less. I almost said Owen Wilson, Ewan McGregor, but like it's good. It's got the good bones to it. You know what I mean? And then you get the Clone Wars, you get Rebels, all that stuff off of it. You get good things off of it, but I just don't know. I think The Mandalorian is the perfect example of like. How are they going to spin what was happening in the sequel trilogy? Because The Mandalorian takes place in between the 2, the original and the sequel. And it's like, I almost feel like we could use that show as a way to just diverge into the correct dimension where none of that happened.
I've been telling everyone that Mandalorian season 12, episode 12 through 16 is like truly some of the best Star Wars ever to happen. Chapters 12 through 16, I should say.
It makes me want to cry. When I watched chapter 1, just watching chapter 1 after seeing, it wasn't after seeing The Last Jedi, but just watching chapter 1, The Last Jedi, Rise of Skywalker is what I meant.
Yeah.
I was emotional within the first 5 minutes because I was like, the first thought I had is this sounds like Star Wars. It sounds like it.
Oh yeah, 100%. No, Mando is so crazy good. And I've met 2 people now, like 2 people I'm pretty good friends with, that have seen every episode of Mandalorian and not a single Star Wars. I think.
And you know what? They're the better for it.
Well, I don't think they're better for it because they're there's so much more happiness in Mando when you're like connected to it. But I think it's crazy that Disney Plus specifically is successfully making like droves of new Star Wars fans that haven't seen the movies. It's like, it's crazy.
Well, you can now watch. You could watch. I would almost love to talk to that guy and go through with him, like have him watch the original trilogy and then start to watch like the specific episodes of the Clone Wars and stuff like that. And because, by the way, it'll be the reverse of what happened in The Mandalorian, because what The Mandalorian did, in my opinion, better than like Solo and Rogue One and all that, is where it like, instead of looking at the camera and being like Star Wars stuff, am I right? It reminded you in a way that you had to be like, oh, wait, it is that. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And it'll be going back and watching the original trilogy, never having seen it, being like, wait, Boba Fett? What?
Yeah, absolutely. I think you're absolutely right. No, that's interesting.
Yeah, I would be keep in touch with that guy. Tell him to watch the original trilogy and see.
Yeah,
what
my friend Madison over in the OC. We just had her over for New Year's Eve last night, and my friend Sean in the band Happy. Everyone go listen to a band called Happy. They're great.
So
how many people are in this live? People are like texting me about it. Are people still here?
Oh wow, it says there's 9 people. Hold on, let me check the comment area. We've never done the comments before. Let's see.
Maybe
wow. Okay. Why would you put some silly thing in your nose? Thank you.
That's my father.
Well, we don't need any more comments. That is amazing.
I know for a fact that's my dad. He does not like my nose ring. I should have mentioned that, I suppose.
That's so funny. Are you a tattoo guy as well?
No, I'm afraid of needles.
For real? I don't know. I always have a nose ring.
I know. The nose ring is one needle. It was quick, and it was a what are the odds, which I fully stand by. I always tell people I don't have tattoos because the only thing scarier than needles is commitment.
Band.
I know. That's what everyone says. Dude, this is crazy. One of my best friends, one of my friends, she's a girl, and she says when any of her girlfriends ask who I am, there's this photo of me that my girlfriend Michaela did where like I've got these fake tattoos all over like my arm. I've got like a full tattoo sleeve. And this girl, she told me that whenever someone asks who I am, she shows them that picture because it shows my potential.
Hilarious.
And I was like, dude, I'm not going to get tattooed. I don't know what to tell you. I don't know. All of my tattoo ideas are super silly. Like I would just look ridiculous. Like I would just.
What's your number one silly one that you think?
I want Spider-Man fighting Venom across my chest leading into my arm. And I shouldn't get that. That's ridiculous.
You can get Spider-Man on your arm here, and then when you have him here, he's got the little web attached to the top of your armpit there, and then you can have him swing away.
That's pretty good. That's actually not bad at all. No, that's like Spider-Man's like torso would be like on my shoulder, and his head would like come into like my like collarbone kind of, and then it would be predominantly Venom like swallowing him on my chest. It's a Ben Bagley piece from the Ultimate series, and I don't remember the artist's name, which is so not fair because he like drew it all. But Ben Bagley's Ultimate Spider-Man is like it's the creme de la creme. It's so good.
Is Spider-Man your main jam comic?
Spider-Man is my main jam. Everything like of everything that we've talked about, like Spider-Man is at the number one of all of it. Of every nerd thing we've mentioned, Spider-Man is. Boom, right there. And my dad would agree. If I'm not mistaken, my dad got me a Spider-Man action figure for the day of my birth. My birthday. I was it got lost in a storage unit, which is a bummer. But yeah, Spider-Man's the number one. He's on my lanyard, he's on like my shelf, he's everywhere.
So what kind of a garbage person am I that I somehow have not seen Into the Spider-Verse yet?
That's like the second best one too. You need to see that. It's so good.
Wait, what's the first best one?
I think Spider-Man 2 is the first best one.
Spider-Man, Tobey Maguire Spider-Man 2?
That Tobey Maguire's Spider-Man 2, yeah, I think
Let me
is.
tell you, that Doc Ock chase where they are, dude, there is not much better than that.
There really isn't. There truly, to God, is not. It's so good. Like, you're absolutely right. That, like, there's two moments in that movie that I think define a lot of cinema, and that's the number one for sure.
Yeah, that was an amazing, like that, for what the guy's name escapes me, Evil Dead director, what was his name?
Oh,
Sam,
yeah, Sam Raimi. Yes,
yeah,
the man.
like because I saw this, I think I maybe had gotten up to Spider-Man 3 before people were like, but Sam Raimi, he always has this butler, Bruce Campbell guy in his movies. And that's when I went back and watched Evil Dead. And it is so crazy to see like
No, they're like best friends. They're like, yeah. Yeah.
Like, have you watched Evil Dead? You must have.
I've seen the OGs. I've got them on DVD upstairs, I think. I'm not like an obsessive. I can't give you facts or anything, but I've seen them for sure.
No, to me, it's crazy. Like, I liked watching that movie the same way I liked watching like Reservoir Dogs to like The Hateful Eight, because it's this weird thing of like, these guys did this with shoestrings and they made some of like the most cult classic-y movies that will ever exist, and now they get to also make Spider-Man, arguably some of the best Spider-Men ever to exist.
I agree completely.
What do you think they're doing with Tobey Maguire in the new Spider-Man?
I mean,
I have thoughts.
At this point, there's been so much. I'm not even like getting my hopes up. And also, like, if they really do all this, first of all, it's two movies. Not only I don't just think that, like, Disney bought two new Spider-Man movies from Sony. That's public. Everyone knows that. And if everything they've said they're doing is actually happening, which I totally believe, like, the rumor mill could have just run crazy with it, and maybe not all of it's true. But if all that's happening, there is not a chance in hell it's not being split up over two movies. Because if they did it all in one, if they did it all in one and it was good, it would be even more impressive than Endgame, which I do think is the most impressive piece of cinema to have ever been made. So
we're gonna have like what 10 years of lore to be able to build up to it. Like, right. There are people that are not ready for the interdimensional Spider-Man.
Right. That's my point exactly. That's exactly what I'm trying to say. Exactly, is that Endgame needed literally a decade and some change of build up to even close to sell that, and I still can't believe that they did it successfully. And Spider-Man, we're talking about a Tom Holland, who's only had two movies relative to the entire Marvel Cinematic Universe, right? And a whole generation of kids that have never seen Tobey Maguire, and a whole generation of kids like me that like Andrew Garfield but didn't like his movies. So you have to remind those people that Tobey Maguire is an amazing Spider-Man. You have to convince everyone that Andrew Garfield is still a killer Spider-Man, despite his movies not holding up to the rest of the status. You have to count on everyone being familiar enough with the multiverse from your animated movie that it doesn't explode their brains. Yeah. And then you have to put all three of those dudes in the same room with all of their love interests in a way that is natural, and I'm stoked about it. If they do it in two movies, it'll be the most insane thing I've ever seen. And if they do it in one, I just, whatever. There's just no way. There's no way. There's a better chance of Logan Paul knocking out Floyd Mayweather than by
the way, I think we should all take the bet of eating one shoe if he wins that fight. Like, it just will boil one shoe and eat it, because there's no way. Like, good for Logan Paul, by the way. I love that dude for doing what he's doing. He's gonna die. We're gonna see an assassination on television, but get your money.
I'm putting $50 on him knocking him out, on Logan knocking Mayweather out.
You can just send me. We got a PO box. You can just send me like $50. It's gonna be money well spent.
I mean, you're right. I'm basically throwing the money away. But the fact is, there's something like a 2% chance of it happening. So your money goes crazy if it does. Like, a small amount of money goes nuts if he does it. And also, it will be the funniest moment in at least recent sports history, if not all of sports history. If Mayweather ruins his career by letting Logan Paul knock him out.
or the saddest. It
Or
will be one where we all go, oh no,
yeah,
he's not getting up. His head came off of his shoulders. He's in trouble.
Oh, that's so funny.
But by the way, my Tobey Maguire prediction is that he is going to be Old Man Pete, and he will have retired as being Spider-Man, and he will have given way to the Miles Morales Spider-Man. But they will have to come to him. This is how I hope it happens. He will be like the thing that Tom Holland has to go and find, and has to, whatever that movie's going to be about. It's going to be about him and Tom Holland. But he's not going to be a Spider-Man. He will be kind of aiding him along the way.
Right. I think that's a totally decent idea. I hope it doesn't happen. I hope.
What do you want to happen?
Well, so here's the thing. The role that you're describing is perfect for Doctor Strange, who we know is in the movie. Like, if there's anyone that should be a new mentor to Tom Holland, who has already proved himself as a formidable Spider-Man because he beat Mysterio and came back to Aunt May and was like, "No, I'm fine." like Kevin Feige and the MCU are smart enough to know that they want us to know that that this Peter Parker is already good at being Spider-Man. He's been in the Avengers. He's been in the biggest fight in the universe. He took out Mysterio in a weekend. He made one big mistake, but I mean, he brushed himself off, and it took Tobey Maguire's trilogy 3 movies, and he didn't really do that, which is fine. That was his character arc, right? The role that you're describing, the mentor role, like a role where Peter brings up Miles Morales, that would be totally fine. But I think that that's best served by Mysterio. I think that Miles Morales is already in Tom Holland's universe, so it would be silly not to use the one that is already in his universe and has already been aged up by the snap.
That's true.
Additionally, Tobey Maguire looks way too good to not put him in the suit. I don't know if you've seen Tobey Maguire in the last couple years, but he doesn't look. He didn't let himself go. He's like he's like more fit than he's ever been. His beard looks great. Like, oh my God, he better be in the suit. Like, he just looks too good to be like the old Spider-Man that's not doing it anymore. Like, legitimately, Tobey Maguire is still too handsome and too fit to be like a not Spider-Man right now. Like, there's
what about the Spider-Man that is ready to give it up? Maybe not to a Miles, but maybe just ready to give it up, period.
And yeah, and that would totally be fine because I love that role. Peter B. Parker in Into the Spider-Verse, which you haven't seen, is amazing. Like, he could totally do that. But like, the Peter Parker that Tobey Maguire plays is like so like sensitive to a degree. I think it would be a little bit weird to see him kind of like down on his luck, I guess, or like it'd be weird to see him tired because Tobey Maguire's Peter Parker, I think, is the most caring of the 3. Like, he really is entrenched in like Aunt May and Mary Jane more than the other 2 are.
I imagine him tired in the way that like an old Batman would be tired. You know what I mean? Like, like technically tired. Like, everyone is like, "Hey, you're tired," but he's like, "No, I'm not." And they're like, "Bro, you're 1,000 years old."
I know. It's a weird critique. I just think he looks too good to sell that. Like, I just think if I look at him and he's in hair and makeup and he says that, I don't think I'll believe him. Like I kind of buy it in Ben Affleck's Batman. You know, they put the bags under his eyes. He got beat up a lot of times in those Zack Snyder movies. But in Tobey Maguire right now, I don't think so. I don't know.
I will tell you this. I really like Tom Holland a lot. But Tobey Maguire, for me, and I'm not saying anything, for a lot of people, is Spider-Man. Like, he is the big screen Spider-Man forever. It's funny because now I'm realizing, like, I'm not dreaming big enough for him. Like, he needs all the glory again. Because really, that 3rd movie did him no favors. Him or whatchamacall, that 70s show kid. What is his name?
Oh,
Tobey Maguire. No. Topher Grace. There you go.
Topher Grace. It's so close. It's really close. Yeah, Topher. Yeah, I know. I don't even mind that movie. I think I saw that movie under my first movie going experience for Spider-Man 3 was really, really positive. And for some reason I've carried that with me. Like, I know the movie's like not great, but when I saw it the first time, it was so dope that I just never lost that like that magic about just that first night I saw it.
I have that for the sequel Matrix movies. Like, I don't care how bad you tell me they are. I know. I get it. I love them anyway.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. No, I think that Tom Holland is probably the most comic book faithful. But
Yeah.
I think that Toby and Andrew and Tom all have something unique about their take on Peter Parker in it that is good. And I wish that Andrew Garfield had been given just a better script. Like, because he really did kill it as Spider-Man. It's just like everything else around him that I wasn't excited about with his two movies, which is, it's a bummer.
And now I really hope it, like, I realized so many, I hate to admit that I'm just a casual Twitter fan that's like, it should be Old Man Pete. Like, hearing you talk about it, now I'm stoked. I'm like, okay, there should be a 2-movie arc. I don't know how it's going to end, but I now want to see your movie more than I want to see my dumb movie.
It must be 2 movies. I really think, like, I know for a fact that they own 2 more Spider-Man movies. If they actually are doing all this, which again, I still don't even believe, it has to be 6 hours. It's just not, there's too much stuff. They can't safely introduce the Sinister Six and 6 main characters in 2.5 hours. It just won't work.
And aren't they potentially putting what's his face, Charlie Cox in there as Daredevil? Have you heard that rumor as well?
That was also a big rumor. I think that's the one role that he might just be like a lawyer off to the side. Like,
hey, Netflix.
Yeah, word. I think that's like the one thing that might be a tiny little cameo. But look, every time I doubt him, they give Captain America Thor's hammer. So so maybe he's just flipping Daredevil. Maybe he just swings into the fight, and I'm like, you know what? It's the greatest thing I've ever seen. So
use your little nightsticks and hit them up. Like,
yeah,
their Marvel casting has never gone wrong ever. Like, even on their TV, even though I wasn't a huge fan of like the entirety of Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., like they have always done really good at anyone they've cast doing anything.
They really have. You're absolutely right.
I feel like you're getting fidgety. If you're ready, we can be out of here.
I'm down for whatever. It's been so much fun talking to you. We've like nerded out about like everything that I think about all day long. So I appreciate you so much, and you run 2 really, really great podcasts, and I think you guys are gonna kill it if you keep it up. So I'm really stoked for you, and I really appreciate you having me on. And I know my mom is like so happy right now. So. Dude,
she's been amazing to us, and it wasn't no thing. I don't know. I always try and say something funny, and it's never funny.
No, of course. No, that was perfect. What are you talking about?
Yeah. I meant to say it too. So what the heck was I going to ask you last? I don't remember, but I will say this: when does the new album come out?
8 days. We're dropping the best album of the year in 8 days. There's don't even listen to more albums in 2021. This is just the best one. First week of the year. You're welcome. We didn't waste any time.
Yeah, go ahead. Sorry.
January 8th, Honeymoon by Not My Weekend, Apple Music, Spotify. Please stream it and leave it on repeat all night. I've already showed my my street team. They all love it, and they really, really hate one song. So I'm really excited for everyone to hear about it.
What day is the 8th?
Oh, I don't know.
Okay. Well, because I'm going to drop this on that day, so people can just immediately go.
No, it'll be
the audio version anyway.
Sure, it'll be Friday. So it's a week from today. So, but it's Thursday at midnight, right? So it's Thursday at like 9:00 my time, midnight your time. So
okay, yeah. These usually drop on Friday at midnight anyway. So There you go.
Perfect. Yeah, that's the one. And I'm really stoked to actually have the record out. It was done in 2019, and it was supposed to come out over the summer and COVID. So we've got a bunch of new songs already done that aren't even on this that like will hopefully also come out this year. So I'm very excited to actually be putting out some new music, and I'm very excited about living here and all the other projects that I've got going. And hopefully, if the vaccine works, if the vaccine works, I think we're on track to be able to book for the summer, to be able to book a tour that we can safely go on and see everyone that's listening to our stuff in the summer. Again, that's literally if the vaccine works over the next couple of months. So everyone cross your fingers and hope for a good 2021.
Well, whichever comes first, your secret project or your going on tour, you got to come back on.
Yeah. Absolutely. Oh, absolutely. Yes. I would love to. You're going to have to watch before the secret one. You're going to have to watch so much more anime. But but yes, either way, I'm down. I'll message you my number on Twitter right now too, because I don't have notifications on for that. So you can actually like text me.
Okay, cool. Awesome.
Yeah.
All right, everybody. I don't remember how I end this. It's been so long. That's it. You've been listening to Dragging the Table. My name is DJ. Keep dragging. Whoops. I probably should have been ready to end the broadcast.